promise to myself, and that promise is that every day that I would try my best to improve myself physically, mentally, and spiritually. Now this morning I managed to improve myself spiritually and mentally, but I haven't gotten around to the physical part as yet. So I'm going to ask you to join me, please, in a little calisthenic exercise so that I can keep my promise to myself. Are you up for it? Are you with me?
Sure.
Okay. I'll show you how to do it. It's very safe. It's one of these exercises that you can do even on an airplane seat. Okay, just like this. Hold your finger up, the index finger of your predominant hand, and we'll just do like this. Okay? Let me count cadence. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoa. Hand-eye coordination is magnificent. You're great. Freeze. Hold it right there. Now take that finger and point to yourself. Freeze. Now look where you're pointing. And look where your neighbor's pointing. There's not a soul in the room pointing here. What is that? Everybody's pointing here. You would think, from a logical point of view, that if we say point to yourself, people would point here. It's the face, it is the cognizance, it is the memory, it's the brain. It's what we associate as ourself. But that's our body and personality. Our self is something very different, and he lives in here. There are questions in the universe that just aren't answerable by the logical mind. It doesn't work. And I love the indigenous native stories that get down to the real nitty-gritty because they can cut to the heart. They go to the heart very, very quickly and tell us things that we can't figure out up here in this brain. So I'm going to borrow one from the Oglala Sioux up in the Dakotas. And it talks about what we just did. And it goes like this. Once, many, many moons ago, the great Creator called together a meeting of all of the animals in his creation. And he said to the animals, there is something which I wish to hide from the humans. And what that is knowledge of the fact that humans create their own experience of life. Now, this needs to be hidden in a place where they can never find it until they're ready for it. Now, I need your help. Where shall I hide it? Well, right away, the eagle spoke up, and the eagle said, well, give it to me. I'll fly it to the moon, and I'll hide it on the dark side. Why, they'll never find it there. The Creator thought for a moment. He said, no, one day the humans will fly to the moon, and they will find it. And then the salmon spoke up, and she said, well, give it to me. I'll swim it to the bottom of the deepest sea, and I'll hide it in a coral reef. I promise you they'll never find it there. No, they won't. And the great Creator thought for a moment, and he said, no, one day the humans will go to the bottom of the sea, and they will find it there. Now, that's about the time that Grandmother Mole spoke up. Now, you see, whenever Grandmother Mole speaks, all of the creatures always become very still and quiet. Because Grandmother Mole, even though she has no physical eyes with which to see, Grandmother Mole can see through the eyes of her heart. For Grandmother Mole lives within the heart of Mother Earth herself. And Grandmother Mole said, put it inside of them. Put it inside of them. They'll never think to look there. At least not until they're ready. At least not until they're ready. What is that was put inside of us? Knowledge of the fact that human beings create their own experience of life. And how do they do that? They do it through the choices that they make. Animals don't get to make choices. They're instinctual. Human beings can respond in different ways to situations around them. You see, it isn't what matters, what's going on around you or what's happening to you. It is how you respond to what's going on out there. That's what matters. And we get to choose. And the choices we make about all that going on around us is what creates our experience of life. And there are also inner resources that we forget we have after a while. And we want them. Well, what do? We go looking for them out there. We look for them on the moon. We look for them under the sea. We look for them in the real estate office, at the car lot, in the dating bars. We look for them all over the place except for where they really are. And then comes a time when we sit down and we realize, we discover where it is, and we look where it is. Now the problem